Alrighty, boys and girls and everything in between. Welcome to the Pocket Network weekly ecosystem call. I am your host, Cryptogorn, as our usual host, Jinx, is currently flying to, I believe, DC to attend the ETH conference. So let's get into it. We're going to start with the foundation updates. We've got two. The first one is for the new F chains, is still being worked on. So currently, sort of current payments and current systems are going to continue through the month of May. So nothing's going to change until the end of May, and then the new details will come out sort of around that time. So anyone with F chains, keep that in mind. Nothing's changing through May, but there will be some changes after that. Secondly, and very excitingly for all of us, it looks like the new tokenomics is going to go live on the 30th of April. So in just about a week's time, we're going to finally get to the holy grail of tokenomics of mint equals burn. So check for more details in the forum for that one. But it looks like, tokenomics is going to go live, which we're all pretty excited about. There's been a lot of discussion over the years. I think we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So let's hope that goes live. With those two announcements made, let's move over to Fred and to Portal protocol and path updates, please.
Thank you. Let's start with Shannon. Last week into this week, excuse me, I'm getting my voice started today. Our protocol upgrades kind of hit some snafus with the latest version of Cosmovisor. We have worked through that. And we now have the protocol upgrades done in beta and alpha testnet. And with that, in alpha testnet, there has been successful Morse account and app claiming. Next is for suppliers, but if you want to get involved and be interested, you can give it a whirl and see if you can claim your tokens on Shannon alpha testnet from Morse. So give that a try. If you have any feedback, of course, leave it in the community channels. For the load testing and scaling up to 10 billion relays in a single day, we are continuing to scale, and work through the scalability bottlenecks with suppliers, relay miners, applications, et cetera. So all around, this has been a great forcing function for relieving any bottlenecks that we could find in the future. And I'm so happy that we're finding this all in testnet and not in mainnet. So continuing to make progress there. As for a D-Day date, we are still working through giving a definitive date. We are still targeting this week that we should provide a date. So stay tuned. And if we are going to push that back, we will let everyone know and say that it's going to take more time to get to a concrete date. We are working as fast as humanly possible. And the team is pretty much around the clock at this point. So we are truly feeling the crunch. When it comes to Path, we are working through deploying one instance of Path per region alongside the existing portal middleware. The idea here is that we need to have some level of traffic splitting, but it also needs to be very controlled so we can roll it up, roll it back, we can observe, we can have it integrated in our data pipeline, and just make sure that everything kind of works in cohesion with the existing portal, as well as we can see its performance against a production workload instead of testing workloads. With that, we're also trying to simplify the deployment of Path, and we are introducing the Nexus, which is a single binary gateway stack. This is getting much closer to a production level readiness, and this should really reduce the barrier of entry for any entry-level gateway operators to come in, deploy a single binary, set up their configuration, and start running relays through Pocket. All right, lastly, just on general Grove and Portal things, we are still working through, BD, getting more relays. And we're hoping with a number of events coming up in this springtime season that we can start to get relays to pump right as we roll into Shannon. Let me see. I have two sets of notes today. We're working through a lot of feedback, and I'll touch on the feedback here in just a second. I will announce that we are officially a validator on the XRPL EVM testnet. And depending on our performance, which I'm hoping will be very good, we will also become a validator on the XRPL EVM mainnet when that goes live. And with that, we still maintain our preferred RPC vendor. All right, lastly, just on feedback in general and the progress on the protocol. So I want to remind everyone, we absolutely value your feedback. I want to say that the team at Grove is only about 7 human beings, and we are working through a crunch time right now. So we really are working nearly around the clock. We are I just want to remind everyone to, as you provide that feedback, to please be respectful when giving that feedback to team members. We are human beings, and many of us have quite literally dedicated our entire lives to this protocol, to this project, and to our SDK. So your feedback is very much appreciated. We are iterating on it as fast as humanly possible, but if we don't get to your message, within an hour, within 5 minutes, it's not a snipe against you. It's we're doing everything that we can to ship this protocol, ship path, and ship everything else. With that feedback, there has been a consistent ask for a supplier workshop. I am going to say right now that we are not planning on doing a supplier workshop for onboarding. We instead want to encourage everyone to use the documentation and participate in the open source community. And we want you to try things. And the reason why we're so adamant about having everyone who is an existing ecosystem member go through the pain and the process of trying using documentation is that is the end state, and that is ultimately where we will arrive. A net new entrant into the ecosystem is going to have to be able to onboard off of docs. So if you existing suppliers and node runners can't do it, then how is someone who is net new to the ecosystem going to be able to? And so that's why we want your feedback. We want you to go through the pain, learn, open PRs to fix the documentation. If you're able to find an issue with it, improve it, PR, get some juicy internet points, on GitHub. That's awesome. If you get stuck, feedback via the normal channels, right? The community chat, Grove support, and most importantly or most preferredly is opening GitHub issues. The team is constantly monitoring GitHub. I think just about every member of the Grove team has a zero inbox policy on GitHub. So that's where we're at. And just a reminder, we're an open source code community, and so the communication, the work, all the development is happening on GitHub. And if you have issues with it, that's what GitHub issues are for. If you find issues with the docs, please correct them, open pull requests. That is everything I have from Grove's end, and thanks everybody who's been participating and providing feedback. Again, it's been invaluable.
Lovely. Well, that's very good to hear that the migration is moving on, and the XRPL testnet is the second. So I think we go DevNet, testnet, mainnet. So it's great to see us see Grove on testnet. So good stuff. I think moving on now is on to questions. So we are being asked about the mint versus mint burn, the new tokenomics. Is this going to be on Morse? Ramiro, Tracy, I see you're both here. Could one of you maybe step up and answer that question for us?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
So it's being asked with the new tokenomics, is this going to happen on Morse or is this just on Shannon?
I believe it's just on Shannon. Well, no, actually, or I believe it's from my understanding, it's gonna hit into effect on April 30th. So if we're not April 30th, which we're not, then I believe it would be on Morse. Is that correct, Art?
Yeah. So Jinx and I briefly spoke about it. So I'm seeing him tomorrow, obviously. So I will get all the details. But to the best of my understanding, we're going to do what we did when Jack was in charge way back when, which is we would get invoiced for a certain amount of pocket equal to the amount of relays that our app stakes did over a rolling 7-day period. Price would be calculated, I'm assuming, as a rolling average over that same 7-day period. and we would burn tokens equivalent to $2.50 per million. And we would do that weekly, so it's like a 7-day lag until we're live on Shannon, at which point the app stakes burn in real time. But yeah, Jinx mentioned that he wanted to do this a few days ago or get it started. I just haven't had us check into chat about the nuance, but I'm assuming this is exactly how it's going to work. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, it looks like we're moving ahead, rolling ahead for the new tokenomics in about a week's time. So that's great news. Any other updates there, Art, from Grove? Anything else you want to say to the community?
I don't know if I mentioned this the other day, but we're kind of exploring a new way to. Oh yeah. This was the conversation I was having in the den. Yeah, we're just exploring a new way to position Pocket. Decentralized RPC is not something that people care about because decentralization is not a value proposition anyone actually cares about in the real world. It's just a byproduct of an incentivized network. And RPC is a term that, unless you're deeply technical, no one knows what it is. API is much more widely adopted as a term amongst not only engineers, but VCs, because software has been basically eating the world for 15, 20 years now. API is a common word amongst technical VCs and non-technical VCs. And then we've been looking at what Pocket actually is. And all credit to Olshansky. I'm not sure if this comes innately from him or from the fact that he follows a very interesting person on Twitter named John Rush, who uses a ton of AI tools to build directory style products for mediums that don't really have it on the internet, and has made a ton of money doing that and blogging, tweeting about it for many years. And we kind of been talking about how we think about Pocket at Grove, and the idea is that we think about it as a network that it provides a registry of open source services, right? If we're going beyond blockchains to other open source tools, we kind of look at Pocket as an open source registry, and that is a little easier and more palatable to take. So we'll be trying different ways of kind of explaining that that's what we are, like a phone book for everything beyond, for blockchain and beyond. How do I get down this line of thoughts? So it's just the messaging is kind of changing the messaging. I tried this pitch, much cleaner version of this pitch a couple days ago on a couple different phone calls with net new people, and they got it immediately, which was nice. It's the first time in a long time that people's eyes lit up and it made sense, and they were able to verify by asking follow-up questions that made sense. If you start seeing either Jinx using the phone book analogy or me talking about a registry or directory, or Olshansky doing the same thing, Fred as well, this is why we are just trying new versions of the Pocket pitch, because it is so deeply low level and technical that nothing else that we have tried using has worked. Not DeepIn, because we're not really a physical network, we're a digital network, and not decentralization, not censorship resistance, not RPC. So if we're trying to hit the masses and trying to get more to like either Web 2 or more to normal people, we have to change the verbiage that we use. So just throwing that out there.
Sounds good. And have we decided what year the word permissionless actually started?
No, I mean, we're still going to use permissionless. We're going to use uncensored. We're going to use unrestricted. We're going to use all those words. It just depends on the audience, right? But you have to keep in mind, if you're looking at like the people who care about permissionless, like that is just the Web3 native group. Like no one cares or has heard of that word. While it is a word, I believe, like even Notion and Google Docs don't, it automatically is spell checked. And then uncensored, like if you think about people who want censorship resistance, that is not a market you can sell to. That is a market of people who are either oppressed or are trying to do something nefarious, or are just deeply libertarian and would like to own their own, stack as best as they can. So neither of those three markets are a deeply viable liquid market that you can tap into. So using that verbiage is very aspirational and visionary, and obviously I credit Mike to, because that is the type of person that he is. That is how he positioned all of this at the very beginning. But 7 years into the project and 5 years onto mainnet, and now building a new version of Pocket that has more capabilities, it's time to kind of evolve how to think about this and kind of use more verbiage that makes sense. And that's what we're doing.
Great. So have we got down to a few sort of taglines? Anyone you want to push out for everyone to start saying? You said
I think I
pundit
updated
analogy.
our Twitter bio yesterday or the day before, just to try just to put something in. I do have a few. I'm not like super stoked about all of them, but if on Grove's Twitter bio, we call a Pocket Network an open source API registry, and we call Path a smart layer that sends every request to the fastest and most reliable node. However, if I look at my notes on this, we call Pocket Network a permissionless directory of open source API providers, or a permissionless network of public good API providers, or a public index of open services. For the very, very layman person, it's an online listing of services and people who provide them. And Path would be a smart access tool that picks the best option available on Pocket Network for your request automatically. It's really hard. I will copy paste a screenshot of a work in progress that I've been putting together. But by no means do I say you need to work on this. You need to use this. You can iterate on it. And funny enough, Olshansky, Fred, and I were talking about this last night, and maybe we should ask the community for an opinion. But this is something I typed up with the help of Claude or ChatGPT, going back and forth as I was preparing for my talk tomorrow, or for my panel tomorrow, on how to position us. And so here are some breakdowns. So you're welcome to iterate on this and send me something back that you think makes sense. But keep in mind, everyone that's on this call is deeply in a tunnel. And so your opinions are highly biased. And even if you don't know it, they are. But that's okay. You're also still the right people to kind of figure out based on your own personal technical depth to give an opinion.
Sounds about right. Well, as Jinx is not here, I'm going to suggest the foundation put some money towards maybe a prize or a competition for everyone to jump in and give some ideas on a good tagline. So I'll let him have the bill for that, and I'll take all the credit for the idea. But yeah, if everyone can jump in and give any ideas on taglines and what they think might be useful, how best we can explain Pocket, it's the constant bête noire of our ecosystem is trying to explain what Pocket is to people outside of the sort of 30 or 50 people in the school. So I think everyone can jump in and help, it'd be much appreciated by us all. So good stuff on that. Let's move on. Are there any other questions? Please feel free to come off mute and ask, or type away.
I will kind of tackle the Fred Jorge conversation. We know that you want a workshop, and we know you want better docs, and we know you want better tooling. Right now, the docs and tooling should be way better than they are in Morse, so that's already a step up. Unless everyone here wants us to push back the timeline, the 7-ish people that we have at the company do not have the time to put together a workshop. It is an immense amount of work that it takes. The best thing to do is for everyone here to just go and iterate. Some node runners have already, told us in private chats that they are going to just sit down and begrudgingly go through what we have and provide feedback in the moment. Fred is doing the same thing. I periodically jump in and do it as well. And our docs and everything does get better over time. This is what it's going to take right now. This is a community-driven effort. There's no moving from there unless we push out the timeline even farther. So I'm sorry.
Okay, so it's timeline versus extra help. All right, anyone else got any other questions? Any thoughts people like to put up? I think George and Fred may need to continue this conversation with Art after the school.
Sure. I'm not sure that I understand the last question, but yeah, please just keep flagging everyone in public chats, and I would encourage everyone, as always, the real source of truth here is GitHub. So if you have an issue, if you have a question, you can open an issue. It's okay. We tend to them. We open them, we close them, we assign them. Several of the feedback tickets from Pocket Scan's team are currently in the pipeline to be developed and fixed. So that's very much appreciated, your contributions. And we'll continue to prioritize and do so as best as we can.
Okay. I think we've got Art's mic still on. Oh, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Anyone else? Is there any other questions people have? Feel free. Now is the time. Alrighty, it seems like it's a pretty quick call this week. Then we'll give everyone back their time, but it's some great updates, and well, I guess we'll see everyone next week with our main man Jinx taking over once again. So thanks everyone for your time, and we'll see you all guys next week.
Thank you.